cover some topics related to outreach. So some of the more common questions that we get from students. And then just some information about different activities and events that happen throughout the semester that all students are welcome to join. We're going to ask that you keep your microphone muted during the session so as to avoid any kind of feedback or anything like that. We're going to begin with a land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the lands on which Memorial University campuses are situated are in the traditional territories of diverse Indigenous groups, and we acknowledge with respect the history and cultures of the Beothuk, Mi'kmaq, Innu, and Inuit of this province. We encourage everyone to reflect on the lands where you are located and the Indigenous peoples for whom these lands are traditional territory. Land acknowledgements are a common practice whenever groups gather. And we are trying to more and more encourage students to participate and come to understand more of the true history of Indigenous peoples within Canada. There is an Indigenous Student Resource Office on campus. They run some exceptional programming, and we would strongly encourage you to participate in some of their sessions and some of their activities. So, and just to clarify in terms of how this session will be run, there will be a question and answer session at the end of the presentation. So if you have questions, you can certainly save your question to the end, and Ken and I will do our best to answer those questions. If we don't have the answer, chances are we'll know the person who does, and we'll get you connected to that person for sure. So in terms of our goals for the session today, we're hoping by the end of this information session that you'll be able to describe kind of the scope or the range of services available through the Internationalization Office and identify at least one way to connect with an international student advisor. And hopefully you know how to participate in Welcome Week events because there's a lot happening and even some through our office as well. So if you've attended any of the other information sessions, you likely already know that the Internationalization Office helps with immigration advising. We help with health insurance. There's off-campus housing support, career services, all sorts of different supports to ensure that kind of your transition to Canada is as smooth as possible. Ken and I tend to answer questions more related to settlement and arrival, personal support. So if you are experiencing financial, academic, or personal type concerns, and you would like to speak to someone privately about that, then that's where we kind of step in. We run different social programming. So every week there are groups that are hosted through the Internationalization Office. And we also have family programming. So recognizing that many international students come to Canada and also resettle in Canada with their families. So we do our best to provide information and help in that regard. So I would say one of the top settlement related questions that we get is how do I get my campus card? So if you've not already done so, then I would encourage you to request your campus card. There are steps and instructions listed through the, if you just even Google Campus Card MUN, it will step you through the process. Any issues with your campus card, you can email directly campuscard@mun.ca. And you're going to use this card to avail of different services throughout the university. So if you visit the registrar's office, if you visit the cashier's office, if you go to sit for exams, you will need oftentimes to provide your university ID. So it's important to carry that with you and have it at the ready. Another common question we get is related to transportation. There is a taxi service, multiple taxi providers within the city, but I would say the majority of students use Metrobus for their day-to-day travel. So there's two primary bus stops on campus, with the primary one being at the University Center. So it's kind of adjacent to the breezeway down there on the first floor. And it costs $2.50 to ride the bus. It doesn't give you change back. So if you give it $3, it keeps your $3, just so you know. And you can buy bus passes at the University Center, at the Avalon Mall customer service, and various other places throughout the city. So there's 10 Ride, 30-day, and semester passes. If you buy a semester pass, keep your receipt because you can claim that on your taxes. If there's any questions about using Metrobus, you can certainly reach out to us and we can help you with that. I encourage students, if you're not familiar with riding the bus, don't be afraid to talk to the driver when you board the bus. Let them know where you're going. Usually they're very helpful, especially if they know that you're a new student. We often get questions about the students getting a driver's license or exchanging their driver's license or getting a new driver's license when they come to Canada. So if you are planning on driving, you can use an international driver's license for 90 days, but after 90 days, you should be switching over your driver's license so that is issued by the provincial government here. And those services are provided through motor vehicle registration, which is located in Mount Pearl. So Mount Pearl is the city that's adjacent to St. John's, and you can get there by bus, but it is a bit of a long bus ride. So kind of plan for a morning or an afternoon if you're heading out that way. And you can book appointments as well. And I would recommend that, as oftentimes the wait times at motor registration can be long if you don't have an appointment. So in terms of services, you can apply for a driver's license. Now, the provincial government does have what's called reciprocal agreements with certain countries where you can literally swap out your license. So you relinquish your home country license and they issue you a Newfoundland provincial license. But it's actually a very short list of countries for which that applies. The majority of students will need to sit for their written driver's test and take their in-car driving test in order to get a driver's license. We often get questions as well about a Newfoundland identification card. And this looks like a driver's license, but it doesn't allow you to actually operate a vehicle. So it has your name, your date of birth, your picture, and other pieces of information about you. And you can kind of carry it in your wallet to have with you if you wanted a piece of ID that's separate from your passport. So in terms of reasons why it may be helpful, if you wanted to board a domestic flight in Canada, you can use a Newfoundland ID card to do so. So sometimes if students have to renew a passport in a different province, and if there's going to be delays in the issuance of that passport, they don't necessarily want to have to stay in that province for an extended period of time. They could travel on that Newfoundland ID card to board a flight or take the ferry across to Newfoundland again, that sort of thing, while they're waiting for their passport to be mailed out to them. I would say the other common reason why students want a Newfoundland ID card is that you have to be 19 years or older if you want to purchase alcohol, cigarettes, or cannabis. And most students don't want to carry their passport with them to show ID for that purpose. I will also mention that Memorial has a policy relating to smoking, alcohol, and cannabis. So it's important to know kind of the university regulations about using controlled substances. So another very common question we get is related to social insurance number. Many of you may have participated or come out to our social insurance clinics that we've been hosting over the past couple of weeks. They've been enormously popular. If you've had to wait a long time, I apologize. A social insurance number is issued to you by the federal government and is a number that you provide to your employer so that they can pay taxes on your behalf. If you're not intending to work, you don't necessarily have to get a social insurance number. It's really intended if you want to seek employment. You should be careful of who you share your social insurance number with. I would say most people memorize this number and don't carry it with them all the time. So personally, I share my social insurance number with the Canada Revenue Agency, my bank, and my employer. I have shared it with a cell phone company because they'll always ask for it, but technically you don't have to. And the reason why it's a number that you kind of maintain private is that it can be linked to identity theft. So your social insurance number is an important number. It's given to you as an individual, and you should be mindful of who has access to that information. If you're not able to come out to one of our social insurance clinics, then you can apply for a social insurance number in person at Service Canada, which is at 100 Hebron Way. I think it's bus 14 from the University Centre, but you might want to check that before you board the bus. Or you can apply online, and it takes usually about 10 or 15 business days to get your social insurance number. They mail to you an access code, and then you use that access code to kind of proceed with next steps for your social insurance number. So if you apply online, you're going to be required to upload a copy of your passport and your study permit. They used to ask for information about your proof of address, but now you just need to input that information and make sure that's very clearly inputted on that form, because you will receive information through mail services. And that's usually the point in the conversation where I like to talk a little bit about fraud and scams. And this is not really intended to scare anyone. It's really meant to let you know that we do see quite a number of attempts to extort money from students, to scam students. It happens to everyone in the community. So it's not unique to international students, but oftentimes students approach our office and let us know that they've been on the receiving end of some fairly unwelcome communication, and sometimes communication that can be quite intimidating. So we see a lot of online attempts of fraud, so jobs that are not legitimate jobs, through Facebook, Kijiji, different rental scams. So sometimes people pretending to be landlords and trying to get you to send damage deposits, your first month rent, that sort of thing, before you've ever seen an apartment, signed a rental agreement. So you need to be careful with that, especially in the current housing market. If you have any questions, please reach out to our office and we can help vet some of the information that you're kind of reviewing and trying to consider. Sometimes students will receive calls from people pretending to be the Canada Revenue Agency, pretending to be the police, immigration, Service Canada. These offices don't reach out via phone. They don't send you texts. So if you wanted to contact with IRCC, it's actually a pretty labored process to connect with them. So they're not calling you to say that you're being deported. Okay, so if you're receiving calls like this, if they say that the police are coming to deport you from Canada, come talk to us, report it to the police, hang up the phone. But I will say that some of these calls are extremely intimidating. So just be mindful that it's quite prevalent. So again, just to stress, just be cautious, be careful. If it doesn't feel right, consult with someone, get a second opinion, and by all means, speak with an advisor. You can mention it to campus enforcement and patrols with their security services on campus, and you can report back up through social media platforms if you're receiving information through their sites. And certainly share this information with any friends or colleagues that you may have who may be going through this experience. And I'm going to hand things over to Ken, who's going to talk a little bit more about wellness supports.
Okay, guys, so there are a number of wellness supports on campus. In addition to myself and Juanita, and you can reach out to us at any time. Memorial offers a number of different services on campus to help out with different needs. So one of the ones that the more popular one is Student Wellness and Counseling Center, the SWCC. At the SWCC, they offer not only mental health counseling, there's physician's appointments for not only students, but their families, nursing appointments, for students and their families, academic supports, and vaccinations. So there's a team of people with our team of professionals with SWCC offering a wide range of services. You can reach the SWCC at the University Center. They're on the 5th floor there. The email address, you can always reach out to them at the email address listed, SWCC front desk at mun.ca, or call them. They're more than happy to help and answer any questions that you have, as well as provide services to you. In addition to the SWCC, MUN also offers a program called Keep Safe, or Keep Me Safe. This program offers students a chance to get real-time counseling. It's appointment-based, confidential support any time of the day or evening. You can reach people, professionals for mental health counseling. And the kind of unique thing about this program is they will be able to offer you counseling in your own language from anywhere in the world. The service is pretty thorough with that. You get matched with a counselor, speaks your language, shares your cultural background, and has a shared experience, school, health, general life concern, anything that you want to talk to them about. It's done over the phone and via chat. Again, it's appointment based, so you'll have to make an appointment to do that. And we list the contact information here, so take note of that. We offer outreach, of course, myself and Juanita, and we have a social work student here this fall as well who will be adding to our services. So we offer a wide range of supports here as well. So anything from one-on-one counseling, one-on-one advising for a wide range of issues, be they personal, financial, or academic. We also offer referrals to other sources on campus, and we do crisis and emergency support and intervention. Basically, if you don't know where else to look on campus, myself and Juanita can help you here. We tend to be a catch-all for anything else. You can reach out to us via the email addresses below. You can also call in here or look us up on the website. We're more than happy to help out in any way we can. Again, as Juanita mentioned at the start of this conversation, if we don't know the answer, we'll know somebody who knows the answer, so we can help you out in that regard. One of the things that we offer here, one of the supports, activities, however you want to refer to it, that we offer here is we offer weekly groups. Weekly groups are a chance for you to get out, meet fellow students from other parts of the world, and to socialize and explore and learn. So right now we're offering three groups per week. The first one is called Activity Group. So yes, it's activity with T-E-A, not an I-T-Y. That's not a spelling mistake. That was a name that the students, this is a new group. It started up last semester. It was the name the students came up with. They, during the conversation that we had as what we're going to name the group, we decided it was going to be an activities-based group. The students said, well, we have coffee club, so why don't we have a group with a T in it? So T groups, they came activity group. During activity group, it's just a chance for the students to meet. It is activity-based. So last semester, we were doing walks around the trails here in the city. During inclement weather, we planned different activities. So I did a presentation on exploring the underwater world of Newfoundland, where I brought in scuba gear, and all the students got a chance to check that out. And I show pictures of the underwater world that we have here. So that's kind of the basis for that group. Discussion group, that goes on Wednesdays from 4 to 5. Myself and Juanita pick a topic each week, and then whoever's attending the group, we have a discussion on that conversation, and it could be anything from as simple as your favorite subject to how you cope with stress to the discussion tends to be tends to get pretty active at times, and it can be a real great way again to learn about others, learn about ideas, opinions, thoughts, and that kind of thing. Then on Friday we do a group called Coffee Club. It's a good way to end off your week. It's held between 3 and 4:30, and what we do is we come in, sit down, again, introduce ourselves. That's as the case with most groups, and then we pick a different activity to do, a different game. So the game could be anything from charades to a challenge. Last semester, we actually, just to give you an idea, one of the days we did an airplane challenge. So we divided everybody up into groups, and the challenge was to construct your own paper airplane. And then we had a competition for the longest flight and the fanciest flight. We did another one where we did a challenge, a pyramid building challenge. So yeah, that just gives you a flavor of what goes on. We meet here at IO in the social room, room 2004. So come on by for any of these groups. It's a great way to get out and again meet your fellow students. Okay, now I'm going to turn it back over to Juanita, and she's going to talk about family programming.
Thanks, Ken. Yeah, so we also, through the Internationalization Office, oversee a family program. Currently, that position for the family program coordinator is vacant. So Ken and I are kind of stepping in to provide support if there are questions or inquiries from students related to family supports and services. So again, that can range pretty broadly. So it may be trying to get your child registered in school, if you're looking at possible childcare options. If you are an expectant parent, then perhaps you may need resources related to pre and postnatal care. There's a whole host of community supports and services. Historically, we have partnered with Daybreak, which is a organization in the community that supports families of very young children. We have different parenting resources and also supportive counseling. So if you are here with your family, if you have additional questions, if you're running into any challenges related to settlement or arrivals, by all means, Ken and I will endeavor to provide the best support we can. And we will happily share the news when a family program coordinator begins in the position again, so that you are fully supported throughout this semester. And just as an addition to that, I would say that through the family program, there's oftentimes an emphasis put on providing some ESL supports for students and spouses of international students or dependents of international students. So I would say we're just kind of in the beginning stages of getting that sorted out for this semester. As soon as we have any update about additional ESL supports, we will be posting that through our weekly listserv message. But in the meantime, there are some community organizations that help with ESL supports. So the local YMCA has a conversation cafe. The Association for New Canadians offers evening classes. They offer daytime classes as well, but they extend an invitation to international students or spouses of international students to attend their evening sessions. And their language school is a walkable distance from the Memorial campus, so it's conveniently located. And then the Bethesda Church as well offers an online conversation cafe that a lot of students like to participate in. So we'll certainly let you know about any opportunities for ESL support in case that may interest you. And Ken mentioned Coffee Club earlier. Our first Coffee Club of the semester will be happening next Friday. So same time, same place, 3 o'clock next Friday here in the IO Social Room. And it's a really nice way to kind of start off your semester and start getting linked to some of the groups that run through our office. Um, Ken has been a social worker for a long time. I've been working, my background is in counseling. I would say we recognize the importance of having a strong social network around you. As newcomers to Canada, it is important to start making friends. I know studies are a priority. Many students want to volunteer and work and really get involved. But I would say that it's also important to prioritize meeting other students, making friends in the early days of your studies. You will likely have these friends with you during your time in university and sometimes lifelong friends as well. So I know it's a busy time for everyone, but please ensure that you're carving out some time for social activity as well. And other ways to get involved. So there are a host of various clubs and societies through your student unions. The lists are available online through MUNSU, which is the Memorial University of Newfoundland Student Union for undergraduate students, and GSU is the Graduate Student Union. And then, of course, there's also a full range of activities happening through more broader campus-wide orientation. So we encourage you to get out to those events so that you're feeling well-informed and able to settle into classes. How we connect with you? Well, I would say in the coming weeks, you're likely going to receive an email from Jessica Taylor, who is a Bachelor of Social Work student working with myself and Ken this semester. And we like to just reach out via email in your first couple of weeks just to see how you're doing. We know that sometimes the questions you have in week 1 are not the same as the questions you have in week 3 or 4. And so this way you have an opportunity if you want to come by and meet with Jessica, just have a chat. If you're starting to feel homesick, those sorts of things, we're happy to help and provide some support if you think it would be a benefit. And we communicate with students in lots of different ways. So every week we send a listserv message, so that goes out every Monday. If you're not receiving that message, then you should email international@mun.ca to make sure that you're added to that list, because we include important health insurance and immigration updates and other fun activities, sometimes employment opportunities, volunteer opportunities. There's a lot of information that gets sent out to you every week, and it's important to stay on top of that. Of course, we're on Facebook. We were on Twitter. I'm not exactly sure what it's called now, but I think it's X, Instagram, and then, of course, our website, and you can reach out. If you're not sure which advisor to reach out to, if you just email international@mun.ca, we'll make sure that your message is passed along to the right person. Ken and I are reachable at the emails listed there, and there is no question that we mind answering. So it may seem like a simple question or something maybe you're not sure. Don't hesitate. We recognize that there is a lot that students have to figure out when you first arrive. So there's no question that we mind answering. All right. So we can open it up to some questions if there are any questions from the community. Okay, so student looking for daycare. All right. I would say that daycare is one of the primary issues, housing and daycare. Let me just see. I'm going to have to close out this just so I can fully see Marie's question. For my daughter near Mun, can you please help?